Hey there, welcome to the Girl Go Global podcast, where faith and works are empowered. With every episode, we're embracing our multi-layered lives with faith, know-how, and grit. I'm your host, Dr. Jasmine, and I'm ready to go global with you. Let's get started. Welcome to the Girl Go Global podcast, where faith and works are empowered. I'm Dr. Jasmine, your host, and I'm so excited that you decided to join me today. I have been so grateful to have with me some dynamic guests, and I'm so excited about what's to come. This season of Girl Go Global podcasting has been so great, and we are looking forward to much, much more in 2023. But as we begin to wrap up this season's content, I'm so glad to have with me today a dynamic guest. She is phenomenal. But first, let me let you know that this episode is sponsored by the Black Directory, the largest Black business directory in the world. So you can Google or visit www.blackdirectory.com to look for Black Directory businesses all across the country. If you're looking for an accountant, if you're looking for a real estate agent, if you are looking for your local grocer, look at Black Directory. They have dynamic businesses listed all across the globe. As I say it's the largest Black business directory, and I'm so excited and proud to be a member of Black Directory. I have had some great opportunities to network with like-minded Black business owners, and I have also started to make some deep connections around access to capital, as well as other teaming opportunities. So if you are looking to broaden your reach as a Black business owner, please don't forget to visit. It will do nothing less than add value to your business. I promise you. So today, as I shared, I have with me a dynamic guest of real life Black girl magic, y'all. She is the Honorable JoBeth Coleby-Davis. She is the Bahamian Progressive Liberal Party politician and attorney who has been the Bahamian Minister of Housing and Transportation since September 2021. She has been a member of Parliament in the Bahamas for more than 5 years. Minister Coleby-Davis holds an LLM in Energy Law and Policy from the University of Dundee in Scotland. She gained her Bachelor of Law degree with business management at Keele University in the UK, y'all. She completed her bar vocational course at Nottingham Trent University. She is the youngest female to be appointed to a cabinet position in the Bahamas. I'm so excited to have with me Minister Coleby-Davis. Would you please introduce yourself to the Girl Go Global community?
Thank you so much, Dr. Jasmine. I honestly don't know what else to say because I think you did such an amazing job with that introduction. But I will say that I am married. I do have my husband and we share a beautiful daughter, Bethany. So if I was to add anything else to your introduction, I'll add in my family, who's been my support, who's been my backbone to that introduction, to say my husband Donovan and Bethany is always there to support me. And so I'm glad to have them a part of my life.
Beautiful. I'm so glad to have you. So glad to chit chat with you. And I'm so glad to have this conversation around all the great things that you are doing in the Bahamas, especially as the youngest female member of Parliament. So let's jump right to this conversation around how you landed in Parliament. Like literally, how did you get there? How did you choose this path for yourself?
Dr. Jasmine, I don't know. I struggle to answer that question honestly because, like you said, you read off my credentials. So I took my education serious. I got my qualifications. I was in a job that I completely dreamed of for myself. I loved what I did. I was in-house legal counsel for an oil company. I did all of their legal work. I had a very comfortable salary. And then I was young when I finished. I was 26 when I got that role. And so I had a lot of responsibilities at the age of 26 because I sat in that role from that age. But I enjoyed what I did. And I just think that everything that happened since then was not, I didn't have control of it. I usually like to do extracurricular activities because, yes, I'm from the Bahamas, but part of my education, I grew up in America. I lived in Atlanta, Georgia, and a part of the American education system is you're not a great student if you just
Mm,
get A's. You're a great student if you get A's while being a part of this glee club, that club, this club. You know what I mean? So that's
mm-hmm.
how I was taught. And so I always thought that what extra can I give back while I'm also working really hard. So when I got my job, I said I needed to do something extra in the evenings, keep myself busy and not be idle. So I started working with the Progressive Liberal Party on their legal team as they prepared for the 2012 election. They were
Okay.
successful in that election. And I went back to my life. And every time they had a function, I would assist with planning. Then in the 2017 election, because we do elections every 5 years, I worked with the party again, really, really, really hard this time. By then, I was well known around with key persons in the party. And so I continued working really hard, hoping that they would be successful again. They were unsuccessful. In fact, they lost really bad. We only won 4 seats out of 39. And
Wow.
so, yeah, it was a really bad loss. And then there were conversations about how to restructure the look of the party. And that's when they started looking outside of the norm family structures of who's known or who you could call on to get the job done. And there was a decision to try and bring some new energy. And they had a list of females that they were sending around. My name ended up on the list, and I was chosen to be a senator for the opposition in
Wow.
2017, which is a
Wow.
part of our parliament. And so that's how I started my journey.
Wow. That's so amazing. That's so amazing. So amazing. So
Yeah.
since then, you are leading the Ministry of Housing and Transportation due
Yeah.
to the recent election that took place in
Mhm,
2021. How did
mhm.
you land leading two different organizations?
Please, please help me figure this out.
Is that a
Um,
trend?
I honestly, I will tell you that whilst we were preparing for the election, we worked really hard to kind of define ourselves as a party to say what it is going to be our message to the Bahamian people. What do we want to achieve? What's our priorities? And a part of that, we created a platform committee. And the platform committee, it divided into sections, persons with strengths and weaknesses in certain areas. So your strengths were what you push towards. I actually wanted education at first. So I told them,
Oh,
please let me work on education committee. I worked, of course, on the energy and the environment committee, basically because of my qualifications, my master's in energy law and policy. And then I asked for housing because I actually was trying to convince them to create a housing and urban development ministry, which
okay.
would be similar to HUD that they have in the United States. So I always was focused on housing. I knew how important housing was. My parents were recipients of the housing program in the 1980s. I was 2 years old when they moved into affordable home by the government's program. And
Okay.
I just know how my life kind of grew based on them entering into that home at a young age and being able to learn responsibility, financial responsibility, and just developing their family and being able to see the level of success they dreamed of. And so I wanted housing. Now, transport was just like an additional thing. And I didn't realize how large it was until I actually got into the ministry. And I was like, wait, this is just two separate ministries put together as one. But I'm trying to balancing a little bit.
Mm-hmm. Well, that's
So,
awesome. There's definitely something they saw in you, and I could see, you doing well in these particular roles, and then that leading to something else. It
yeah.
sounds like your path has been paid for you in ways that are almost, spiritual or godlike, if you will. Can you
Yes,
tell me about your faith and what role you think your faith has played in these opportunities that you've had?
I always say, God is just so amazing. He's almost like a parent. You have a strong relationship with your parent, like a father or your
Mm,
mother, a strong relationship, and you ask them for things and they kind of redirect when they
mm-hmm.
know because they lived here before. So they know what's good for you. They know what's going to hurt you. So even if they want to give you sometimes what you want, they kind of deter you and push you towards what
Yeah.
you need. And so that's kind of the relationship I have with God. I pray and I say exactly what it is I want. And then when me and my husband, when he proposed to me, we sat down and I said, let's create a vision board and let's
Mm.
pray over our vision board. And so my husband is Anglican. And so we did our counseling with the priest at the Anglican church. And we told him about our vision board. And a part of that was just a part of my vision board was my vision for my families, for me to be elevated into the best role where I can excel in my profession and be able to support my family. And so that was my prayer. And that
Mm.
continued with me. So even when I sat in my office as a in-house counsel for an oil company, I always used to, sometimes through the day, I would pray to God and say, I just want to make sure this is what you have for me. Because, sometimes it's like, this is going too good.
Mm.
I just want to make sure this is actually, I don't want to lose my humbleness, my
Mm.
spirit of humility. I don't want to get so big headed that I forget that you're the reason I'm here. And so my prayer to him was always just make sure this is actually what you have for me. I want
Mm.
you to know that I'm still leaning on you. So even when I was seeing myself enter into politics and the success of me continue to move forward, I kept going to him like, my God, I want to do what you have for me, but I didn't choose this politics now.
Mm.
I'm not sure, is this what you have for me? But even now in my role, I always enter, even before I go before my team or even in the public, before I do a press announcement or a press statement or speak to the media, I always pray for my tongue to be guided because
Mm.
I want people to finally, if it's the only opportunity they have, experience government officials that just mean them well.
Oh, that's
And I think
good.
we've lost that. Along the way, somehow we've lost that experience for some persons, not everyone, but some. And so I said, it's probably just, even if it's just for this moment, for me to
Mm.
enter into politics and show people that there are true, genuine people with integrity and humility who honestly want to do good, that can transform and change your lives. And that's what I'm here to do.
Oh, that's so good. That's so good. That's so good. And it sounds just so authentic. And
Yeah.
I feel so connected with it. And I just believe that that vision board, and I'm sure you had a professional vision board and in the way
Hmm.
that you entreat the Lord with through prayer
Oh
and
yeah,
and
he was
and
in the
and
middle of
just
our board. If he was in the
yes,
middle, he's
look
in
at
the
that.
center.
Oh my goodness. And I'm just grateful for the opportunity to even share that, because so often people in political positions don't always feel comfortable with sharing their faith in ways
Yeah,
because you are serving a community that may not always have the same faith
correct.
as you do. But we are all entitled to our faith, and I'm
Mm,
so excited about your future. So when you think about your faith and your vision board, did you ever think that you would be the first female in parliament in the Bahamas? Like literally, there are women across the globe just breaking barriers, and you are one of them. Like this is, you
mhm.
have made history. How does it feel? And what obstacles did you have to overcome in order to just become successful in this area?
I mean, it's been amazing. It was a tough road. Many times I questioned, God, I'm like, why this? I was doing well. I didn't need this.
Mm.
It's not one of these cases where it was like, gosh, hurry up, find me an option because I'm running out of them. So
Yeah.
questioned him because it was really tough. And even sometimes today, it's quite tough because I will correct you, not the first female, but the first youngest female
Okay.
in
Yes.
cabinet.
Mm-hmm.
And so for me, it was like, well, why am I given this heavy responsibility at
Yes.
this age when all of my other colleagues, past and present, obviously they got to live their life and get to a certain age and then come into this. And it feels as if I was thrown into it at such a young age. And it kind of stressed me a little bit because I'm
Mm.
just growing my family. My daughter's only 3 years old, so
Mm.
she has to grow into this public life
Yes.
simply because her mother is a politician. in the Bahamas, where we have less than 400,000 people as our population. So
Wow.
it's no way she can escape not being known
Yes.
as Minister Coleby-Davis' daughter. Whether I continue to serve or not, she will carry that for the
Yes.
rest of her life. And so I questioned God a lot of the times, even where I went to run as my constituency, I ran against someone who was very, very, very well known in the community, a top surgeon, well in his career, well known, helped a lot of persons, obviously, by what he does in his profession, come from a very good, wealthy, strong family. So it was almost like David and Goliath type of thing, because it was a tough fight, trying to get known and let the people know who I am. And so I had to show them just me, just the pureness of my
Wow.
heart, so people can buy in and actually connect with my story and understand that the position I would be placed in would be better suited for them to be served in the way that they want. And so it was a fight. It was a fight.
Mm.
And I didn't, and I think I came in so naive to,
Okay.
I would say, to the other side of politics, which is the dark side, the
Yeah.
nastiness that people say about you that they do. And even the setting up, people trying to set you up and this, that. And that is what I think if it's anything else that turns me off, it's just that I had to fight. And still to this day, in a lot of instances, you have to fight through that. And I'm like, I am fighting through this because I have to prove something based on God's mission. Because this is his mission. This has never been a desire of mine. I put persons on my vision board who I aspire to be like, but I don't, they're none of them are politicians. I put
No.
Oprah, I put Michelle Obama. I mean, they're not, they weren't serving where like how I'm serving. So I
Right.
just saw them as powerful professionals who are well respected, who carry themselves well with integrity, humility, and help people when they can. But I never saw politics in my life. And so I didn't ask for it. And so sometimes when it gets a little tough, when the road gets tough, I sit back and I'm like, God, did you make a mistake? Like, let's sit and talk during my prayer session. And I want you to explain to me what's happening. And at the end of the day, a calm comes over me, a message comes. And my constituents know that I serve God because they sometimes they wake up in the morning, they will send me a WhatsApp, which is a scripture. One of them sent me a list of scriptures to read, and they'll send encouraging words. Minister, we're
Oh.
always praying for you. We're so proud of you. Stay strong. God got you. And I love that because that means I've already defined who I am to them, what my standards are to
That's
them.
good.
And so their conversation to me is because this is who she is, and we respect that. And they show me that respect as opposed to speaking sideways or whatever. When they approach me, it's always, we know that you serve God. We know that you trust in him. We know that you pray for him. And so when we come to you, we're letting you know that we are joining in prayer to cover you, to keep you, the blood of Jesus over you. And I love that about them because that means when I walked the streets and knocked on their door and hosted my town hall meetings, I really sent the message loud and clear that God is the reason I'm here. And so they respect that. And I love that.
I
Mm.
love that too. Oh my goodness, being able to live authentically in your faith.
Yes. Mm-hmm.
That's good. So if
Mm-hmm.
you were to talk about how you're balancing, I want to reach back to something you said when you talked about how you're balancing, you're running two ministries, and then
Yeah.
you're married with a young child, with a young daughter who's looking up to you. I'm very, very sure of that. How
Mm-hmm.
are you balancing all of your professional life with your home life?
My balance is because I just have, I would say, the most amazing village to lean on. First of all, my family, my parents, my dad, my mom, my sisters. I mean, I can call them. I served in the Senate. I actually I think I'm the first parliamentarian that actually went through a pregnancy, and even
Mm.
because I was pregnant while I was a senator, gave birth.
Wow.
They kind of watch everything about my life transition into this role. And even when I had that experience, I had my mom with me. She lives in Turks and Caicos, which is southeast of the Bahamas, but she flies over to the Bahamas very often, to the point where my daughter calls the guest room mama's room because she
Oh,
just sees that as my mom's room. But the other side of it, my husband family is absolutely amazing. And
oh,
I'm
that's a blessing.
so grateful. His mom, but my daughter is the first grandchild of both of his
Okay.
parents. He's the eldest, and so he's his brother. He has a brother and a sister. His brother is married, but him and his wife doesn't have. They're younger than us. They don't have any sibling, any kids yet, and so Bethany is the only one, and so they are amazing. I can call on them to pick her up from school, to get this for her, to get that, help me plan. Even my sister-in-law, his sister, I can get her to help here, there, and everywhere. And I think I've connected with people while I was campaigning who see the genuineness and who see my heart, the pureness of my heart, the goodness of my heart. And so people who've even joined my team in the ministry who worked with me prior, my executive assistant, my secretary, they have this amazing spirit over them that
Mm,
helps to keep me calm
that's
and
good.
to lift a little bit of the burden and to
That's
help
good.
me stay organized. And so they don't allow so much pressure to come. At certain points they will come in and see that I'm a little stressed, and so they will cut meetings for the rest of the day and say, we just told everyone we'll reschedule them. And so I just think taking that step, even to notice when I'm a little burdened or when I'm
Mm,
drained. And so even just who you connect with and how people see you. This is the world
mm-hmm.
now where people respond based on what you put out, what
That's
you
right.
give them, how they see you is what they return back to you. And so I just have amazing people in my life that help me to balance. And then I've been met with some amazing public servants who work in the government, who are heads of my departments, who buy into the vision and who just respect me in my role, even though I'm younger than so many of them. I'm the age of many of their kids, and they now have to speak to me as minister and kind of take instructions from me, but they respect
That's good.
my leadership. They bought into the vision, and they're so excited to be a part of the ministry where they can help to break ground on a lot of projects that will change people's lives. And so I think it's just really, I honestly lean on prayer. I lean on prayer because I don't think I would be able to do many of what I'm able to achieve if God didn't place people strategically in my life. And that's how I see it. I just feel like, wow, I couldn't get a better group of people to be placed. And some of them, it was tension in the beginning because you learn that everyone don't support your party.
Yeah.
Um, but they all blended out and we're now working well together. And I think just continued prayer. It's not going to be perfect. We have tough days. But continued prayer. And you always got to remember the storm is passing. Storms pass.
That's right.
Storms pass. They don't stay and be like,
They
well,
don't
I'm a
stay.
storm and I'm here for
Exactly.
a year. They they keep going, they pass. And so even when it's tough, sometimes I don't even want to get out of bed. I'm like so stressed and so it's so much tension, and you see this stuff printed in the newspaper and that, and you're like, well, that's not really how it goes. I always pray and I say, God,
Mm,
guide me, guide my tongue, guide my response, because
mm.
I don't ever want to be in a position where I'm so angered that I allow people to get me to that place where I have to get to this nasty, to say
Yes.
nasty things or do. And so, yeah, I try to fix myself.
That's so good. That's so good.
But that I will tell you that makes it kind of worse when we lean on prayer and we are upfront about our relationship with God, because the enemy attacks are
Yes. Oh
greater.
God.
It's greater. It's greater.
Oh God. Ain't that the truth? Oh my goodness.
Mhm.
Wow. But one thing I know for sure, that God will never leave us or forsake us. He will always
Exactly.
provide a way of escape. And I believe that He has truly gifted you with the village that you need to help you not
Yes.
only be successful in this role, but also make His name great in the earth.
Hmm. Hmm.
Because how often do you see politicians saying, I love Jesus and I love Him for real, y'all, and I'm not ashamed
I'm
to
not
say it? You know what
ashamed.
I mean? How often do you
Correct.
hear that? People are
Yeah.
always compromising their faith for fame
Mm-hmm.
or a role or for money, but thank
Mm-hmm.
God that he
Yes.
has kingdom ambassadors in the right place at the right time to fulfill his mission, his
Yes.
kingdom mission on the earth. Oh my goodness, this is
Mm-hmm.
such a great conversation.
Yes.
Hey,
Yes.
Global Girls, I'm talking to the phenomenal Minister JoBeth Coleby-Davis. She is the youngest female to be appointed to a cabinet position in the Bahamas. This has been such a great conversation. So if you are enjoying this content, please don't forget to like and subscribe and share this content with a friend. We are around here helping women step into their power and join their faith and their works to live out their courageous life for which God created them. And I must also say that this episode is sponsored by the Black Directory, the largest Black business directory in the world. So if you're looking for Black businesses and you don't know how to find your accountant, your real estate agents, or anyone in between, visit Black Directories, do a search, and find those Black businesses that you would love, love, love to serve. So now back to our conversation. Minister Coleby-Davis, please tell me what strategies you can give other women who are seeking to step into their political power, whether it be at the municipal level, the senatorial level, the House, all those different avenues. If someone wants to step into their political power by whatever means that looks like for them, do you have any strategies that you can share with them?
Yes, of course. First of all, I would say know the role before you aspire,
Mm,
right? Try to get an understanding, try to do a little bit of research, try to get yourself in networks of people that actually work in the arena of what you're aspiring to go to, or just network with people that are really there in that role so you can understand what type of prayer you need to offer up, right?
mm,
Because sometimes you do pray for what you want and it's exactly what you prayed. Not unlike
mm,
some instances, God just redirects you. But if it's what you want, know it a little bit so that you
mm,
could begin to mentally, our mental health is so important. And I think sometimes we forget that because we have our own desires. And so we forget about whatever challenges we may mentally have to prepare for. And so knowing a little bit about what it is, not looking on the outside and seeing all the glory, but just knowing a little bit about the pain, the stress, the burdens that come with it, and how you have to have a little bit of a push to carry on the journey because sometimes you stumble, you fall. Be in a position to be able to really take constructive criticism. I
mm,
always tell people that work around me, that work on my team, I don't want people that's just going to say yes, 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 and praise whatever I say I want to do. I want people that are going to tell me, no, do not do that. That's not the better option. I want people to challenge some of the decision I make. So make sure you attach yourself with some persons who are going to say, look, don't go that way because you're going to buck your
mm,
toe. Say it before you. So even if you don't listen, when you buck your toe, you can go back and say, boy, that
mm,
advice you gave me was so powerful. And as women, we are judged a little bit more harder, a little bit more
mm.
tougher, right? That's why
That's
prayer
true.
is so important. That's why prayer is so important. Whether you are a Baptist or a Catholic or Anglican, I just feel as if you have to have some sort of meditation that
Mm,
you do on a constant to bring you in, to tie you into what your vision for your life is. So I created a vision because in my vision, I may have not said politics or want to be a politician, but I defined to God on a paper what I actually aspire to achieve in my life as a wife, as a mother, as a
mm,
professional, and most importantly, as a believer. And so they said, write the vision plain, plain as day. And so
mhm,
those photos were like as plain as day, how we wrote it out, how we just cut photos out and the photos spoke to what we want. We did a big
mm,
circle in the middle and we put God,
mm.
and so the
Yeah.
rest of it was around it. We centered different photos, visions from what my husband wanted to achieve, what I wanted to achieve. I think you just set out your plan and work hard towards it, but
Mm,
always, always, always make sure that you commit yourself to a life of prayer, that's all I can only speak from what I experience, right?
Mm-hmm.
So if there are non-believers that are listening, I experience this thing, this peace that comes over me, and
Mm-hmm.
and kind of that voice that speaks to you and say, don't do that, or
Mm-hmm.
don't say that, because I have already connected myself to God and I pray to him, I lean on him. And so even when it's tough, I just sometimes pull back and say, God, I know you got my back. I
Mm.
trust in you. So that's why every message of mine will always come where it begins and ends with prayer, because
Mm.
that's what I lean on. Hard work and dedication. It don't happen easy. It don't
No, it
happen
doesn't.
easy. And it takes long for some. I may seem like I got there faster than others. And that doesn't mean that others will not achieve. You know, there may be some that get there younger than me. I may
Mm-hmm.
be the youngest now, which means I make history in that sense, but others will come behind who may be younger than me, who
That's
may
right.
achieve more. And it's because I broke that glass ceiling to say, hey, young people can get an opportunity to sit to this table,
That's right. That's
manage a
right. And it's so
family,
good.
and still achieve what the government desires for us to achieve. And so some people are counting on some of these women now who
Oh,
aspire,
wow.
who I'm speaking through your podcast. Many people are looking at them now and saying, man, you got to go further, because I'm counting on you that if you push through, you achieve it, and I see you get through the door, that means it's possible. So
Mm.
don't hold yourself back. Don't allow fear to hold you back. Continue to push through. Even the hurt, the pain, the stress, the disappointment, the loneliness, it will come. I experience it. I don't want anybody to think that this podcast, I'm saying all the good stuff because things are perfect. It is not. It
Mm.
comes, right? But you have to
Yes.
push past that, because many, many, many younger girls and boys are
Mm-hmm.
looking at you as an example, that if she just gets to the next level, then I am automatically convinced that it's possible for me to get there. So you
That's
have to
good.
push
Oh
through.
my God. Thank you for sharing that. That encouraged my heart.
Thank
So
you.
I just want to say thank you so much for joining me. This podcast is for women who want to step out into their power, fulfill their true destiny and purpose on earth. We do that with faith, know-how, and grit. We are trying to go global based upon our multi-layered lives. So when I say, what does it mean for girls to go global? What would you say? What does that mean to you?
Global is just how far you was able to carry your story, your
Mm,
message. Look at how our stories connected. We met many years
many.
ago, much younger. I don't think
Yes.
you was married. I know for sure I wasn't married.
No,
We
no,
didn't
no.
have all of this going on what we have now. But and we didn't achieve all that we achieved. And look at how we're brought back now. We're
Yeah.
in two different countries.
Yes.
We're excelling in two different ways, right?
Yes.
But we're both women who are spreading the message that is possible. So you've already went global. I've already went global,
That's right.
because everyone that links into your podcast, they're going to get this message from you and from me as
Mm-hmm.
two women doing what we said we wanted to achieve, even if it wasn't what we thought we would
Mm-hmm.
achieve. But
That's true.
having success, having our professions, and spreading the message that other women, other girls can go global. So
Mm,
going global just means your story has transcended the corners, the barriers, the
mm,
waters around you, and crossed over into other arenas, into other networks. People now are sitting down and talking about Dr. Jasmine, what an
mm,
inspiration she is, and they're not even in the vicinity of where you are. People now are saying, Minister Coleby-Davis, man, she really is working. That's
mm-hmm.
going global. The message is what you want to be carried. You don't need people to praise you. Praise is to God, but
That's right.
your message is what you want. So that's what I think of when I hear global. The story transitioning lives, time, temperatures, cultures.
Mm,
That's what it means to me. It means getting a strong message of encouragement, support, and belief to others so that it could give them a lift, a boost of their spirit, and they can carry it on.
That's so beautiful. That's so beautiful. This has been such a great conversation. And I'm so thankful, Minister Coleby-Davis, that you decided to join me to have a little girl chat at the end of your day. Thank you
Thank
so
you.
much for joining me. This has been the Girl Go Global podcast, where faith and works are empowered. If you are enjoying the content, please give us a review, subscribe, like, share. Don't keep this information to yourself. We are around here providing content as consistently as possible. I love to hear how you are enjoying the content. But first, girls, girl, go global.
Yes.